The other permanent members of the Council are the United Kingdom, US, France, and China. So we'll go straight on Zoom and then speak to Adib Saani, who is an international relations expert. Adib, good afternoon and welcome to News BTN. Now, how key is the Russian assumption of the presidency of the United Nations Secretary Council to international politics?
It's mostly procedural, like you mentioned. Russia is a permanent member of the Security Council. We have non-permanent members whose term would end on 31st December 2024. But in the meantime, the presidency is rotational by alphabetical order. The last time Russia ascended to the presidency was in February last year, just at the same time they launched the military operation against the Ukraine. Indeed, the Ukrainians are not taking kindly with this. They described this as the biggest April Fool's Day prank. And Zelensky has also described it as absurd and destructive. But the US has been also categorical. The press secretary said there's nothing they can do about it. They cannot block them. It's a matter of principle. It's a matter of law, okay? And it doesn't really mean much, like I said, because it's procedural, but definitely, I must say, it is an honor to be given the presidency, and it's only indicative that despite the Western isolation, Russia is still part and parcel of the international political system. Okay, so despite some calls by US politicians and some Europeans for Russia to be pushed into pariah, the fact that they have ascended to the presidency of the Security Council is only a manifestation of their presence and influence within the international political structure, which I must say I find quite profound.
Well, Adib, talking of influence, do you think that Russia can bulldoze its way through looking at its current position on decision or any decision-making process?
No, I don't think so. Usually, it is according to votes, okay? It's just like a ceremony with a chairperson, okay? So the chairperson might call some shots as to this person speak, this person speak. But the finality of whatever decision is going to be agreed on doesn't lie on the presidency, but rather the votes that will be garnered by the close of the day. Okay? But it shouldn't also be used as a political tool, as a propaganda tool by the Russians to advance or justify their invasion of Ukraine. So I don't think that this is going to in any way affect the decisions of the Security Council, also knowing full well that the permanent members can veto any decision that might culminate as a result of the decisions or the vote. And this also brings us to another very important area, the need for us to reform the Security Council. And a number of world leaders have raised it. I was watching a video by Robert Mugabe when he appeared there. He spoke like the orator he is. He said, look, what it means is we are just coming here as stooges to talk and talk and talk. In the end, all the decisions are vested in the permanent members of the UN Security Council. Why does it have to be so? You are preaching democracy. Inclusivity. You don't have to constrict it all to just the 5 permanent members. And I think this is an issue that has been on the table for years on end. And I must say, the US, once it doesn't buy into it, especially, there's no way we can succeed there, because most of the budget of the UN comes from the US. You know, so if you are willing to finance the UN, fine. But are you capable enough? That's the question.
But Adib, like you mentioned, when I spoke about bulldozing through decision making. We all also know that the war between Russia and then Ukraine has not ended. Will it affect any bearing on the war with Ukraine, and should Ukraine even be worried?
Well, Ukraine has been specific about the need for the global community to isolate Russia. But the thing is, as a practitioner of international relations, there's something we say. There is no immorality when it comes to preserving the interest of the states. So even if you know this government is killing its people to produce oil, once I'm going to get it from them cheap, I will go get it. That's what India is doing. Look, the Americans have invited Modi, the British and other Europeans. They've gone there pleading with him. Look, don't buy cheap Russian oil. But he's refused because that is in the interest of India. Where would he buy it from? Because it has to be cheap. Okay, that is why India is Russia's largest, with, of course, China and some other countries. That is why they are buying it from Russia. Okay, and you see, Ukraine, I think, would have to rethink their strategy towards ending this war. And the only solution towards ending this is a negotiated solution, not baby crying, okay, not the lamentations, not the bickering, not the infantility that is demonstrated out there. Because I asked some Western analysts, so with all these weapons you are supplying to Ukraine, to what end? What do you seek to achieve? And they said defeat. And I said, defeat? Do you know what defeat is? That is for Russia to withdraw from all of Ukrainian territory, including Crimea. How feasible do you think this is? Because it's tantamount to asking Israel to withdraw from Jerusalem, or to asking the Americans to withdraw from Okinawa. It's just not possible. So why don't you accept the status quo and find means to end this hostility in which thousands of people are getting killed on a weekly basis, and the country is getting destroyed. I was recently watching a video of Mariupol before and after the war, and God, it's despicable.
That is quite interesting, Adib. But we would have to end here for the sake of time and come back to you subsequently on this issue with Russia and the UN Security Council. Thank you so much once again. We'll take a quick break. We are back shortly.